Alrighty, so it's the first News of the Week episode of 2025, and it's kind of almost coincidentally that it is the first one on the first day of the new year, but it is a Wednesday, which means usually I do a News of the Week episode, and just like during the Christmas period, where even though there wasn't as much news that has happened in the MLS world, I think it's good enough where I can do a News of the Week episode. It's the same thing in terms of heading into New Year. There was still some good amount of transfer news and reports that happen around MLS to talk about for me too worthy to make a news of the week episode. But one thing I know for sure is that as we approach these next couple of days and really these next couple of weeks, the rumor mill is going to be spinning out of control because with the European transfer window now being open and the South American transfer window seems like that's going to open uh in coming days. This is when it gets real, where teams are going to start signing players. Teams are going to be linked with different players, and this is where teams are going to built their squad before the preseason began. And for some of these teams, the preseason is going to begin as soon as in a couple of weeks, especially for these teams that is participating in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But with that being said, the first news we're going to talk about is a potential new head coach that is going to be hired. So NYCFC is report to name Pascal Jansen as their new head coach. Now he currently coach in the Hungarian league, although he coached on one of the team that is actually in the Europa League right now, and he also has experience in the Eredivisie as well. He coached AZ Alkmaar and did a relatively good job with that team, so he definitely has a pedigree of of coaching in higher level. This is not just kind of like your random head coach out of nowhere. But if there's one thing we know about City Football Group is that they're very good when it comes to not only finding good talented player around the world, but also finding good head coaching talent as well. And we'll see whether or not if that will translate. With him coming to NYCFC, and from what I also heard, it seems like he has already terminated his contract with the team that he's currently with in Hungary. So most likely this is going to be official that he's going to be the new head coach of NYCFC. Now, moving on, talk about some free agency signings. So we had a couple of free agency signings, starting with a big one with Austin FC signing Ilya off of free agency. So this is definitely a big one, considering Ilya brings a lot of experience to the team, and I feel like this is kind of the Alex Ring replacement. With them moving on from Alex Ring for Austin, which was not easy because Alex Ring really means a lot to that team. He's going to be definitely considered a legend of the team, just such a leader for this Austin roster. They had to find someone similar to that, and I think Ilya is equally as good of a leader as Alex Ring was, especially during his time with LAFC, and brings that veteran presence. And even though he's not going to be a guy that I would think he's going to start every single game, he is getting up there in the age. His leadership skill will really provide this Austin team, and that's kind of what you need when you try to build a roster. You need a guy that could be a leader of men in your roster and also in the locker room as well. And Ilya definitely does that. And then, of course, Inter Miami have signed Fafa Pico off of free agency. So I kind of mentioned this a little bit with Fafa Pico potentially going to an Eastern Conference team. Now, I didn't think Inter Miami was going to be the team to do so, considering they're already very stacked up front, and it's kind of an interesting choice for Fafa Pico to decide to go there. I mean, I guess if you get a chance to play with Messi and friends, I mean, you might as well take the chance to do so. But again, if he wants more playing time, similar to what he did with the Whitecaps, I feel like Inter Miami might not be the right team for him to join. But that being said, he is going to join a good team, and there's could be a chance that he could be winning some silverware as well, because we know this Inter Miami team is going to be one, if not the favorites, of winning MLS Cup next year, and also going to be favorites in a lot of competition as well. And then NYCFC have announced that they have loaned James Sands to FC St. Pauli. So this is kind of interesting because we always talk about when a player go to Europe and it didn't quite work out and move back to MLS. Usually, sometimes these players don't get a second chance in terms of making another big move off to Europe. But in the case of James Sands, he is going to get a second shot in Europe. And what's kind of interesting is that his development it's been kind of stagnated ever since he came back from Rangers. He hasn't really been anything as good as he was before. It's not like he was playing out of his mind that he deserved a second chance, but he got a second chance here. And while he is joining a team that St. Pauli is one of the team that is not doing very well in the Bundesliga, which is not a surprise because they just got promoted last season. We knew that they were going to be in for a tough season. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how James Sands, of course, would do. And one thing I will say is going to the Bundesliga might be a great choice for a lot of these young players because we know the Bundesliga is a league that developed a lot of good young American talent before, and we'll see whether or not if James Sands can do so and whether if it will work out. And then another league that has been very good in terms of developing good talent is the Eredivisie, as it looks like PSV is looking to sign Ismail Baratovic from the New England Revolution. Now, again, this is not a big surprise. Consider what Ismail did last season for New England. It was really his breakout season, and he has shown it too, both in the club level and even in the international level with the Bosnian team. It's such a shame the U.S. wasn't able to get him. I think he is a very talented player. Yes, I know he has Bosnian heritage, and he decided to choose that route instead. But I feel like that was a missed opportunity for the U.S. to get him. But yeah, him going to PSV, a very good team as well, and a team that had this guy called Chucky Lozano for a relatively long time as well. I think this is a good move for him to continue his talent. And again, in general, the Eredivisie has always been a league that has done well when it comes to developing young talent, and I think he's going to do really well with him. And then DC United, they are looking to sell homegrown fullback Matteo Akubani to Bournemouth. Now he in his limited minutes with DC, he looked really good, and he is a guy that again has a lot of upside and maybe even national team material as well. Because if there's one thing about the U.S. men's national team, they're always kind of a little short when it comes to the fullback quality, especially the left back quality as well. Because right now, I think the depth chart in terms of the left back. It's not really that strong. I think Joe Scally has been playing there a lot, and this is no disrespect to Joe Scally. He's a very good player as well, but I feel like Mateo Agaboni can definitely challenge him if he does well with Bournemouth. But yeah, we'll see whether of course this of course would work out for him making that jump to Europe. Now, moving on in terms to talk about some transfer rumors, and we start off with the Seattle Sounders. So, remember I talked about how there was a report saying that they're going to bring Jesus Ferreira from Dallas to the Seattle Sounders. Well, it's now pretty close to being reality, and apparently, the deal is that they're going to bring Jesus Ferreira from FC Dallas in exchange for not only up to $2 million general allocation money, but they're also going to send Leo Chu to Dallas. Now, overall, I think it's a fair deal. I mean, Jesus Ferreira, we know that he kind of had a very disappointing season last year for Dallas, mostly made due to the fact that he wasn't really playing in his preferred position in the number 9, and not to mention he also had some trouble at times staying on the pitch, ends up on the IR. But knowing that the Sounders desperately needed a number 9, I mean, they moved on from Rui Diaz this offseason. They need a number 9 in that spot. And even though Jordan Morris has done relatively well in terms of that spot, bring Jesus Ferreira, that could work out as well. Especially, as I talked about earlier in the New Year resolution and wishes video about the Sounders needing another creative player. Jesus Ferreira can be that guy as well. Dallas at times have playing him behind a number 9, as what we saw with him playing behind Pedro Musa in that spot. Though ideally he's more of a number 9, and I guess maybe they might shift Jordan Morris back in the winger position, especially now that they lost some depth in Leo Chu, who Leo Chu time with the Sounders, it's been kind of disappointing. I mean, he was a guy that when he came into the league, I thought he could be something for the Sounders side, and just really never developed to a point where he was pretty much relegated to be a bench player for the Sounders team. Now, there is a report suggesting that Rayados is going to sell Brandon Vasquez to Austin FC. So originally there was a report that Rioters was going to terminate Brendan Vasquez's contract. And Brendan Vasquez, we know how strong of a start he had when he was with Rioters, but then it kind of didn't work out for him. He kind of slowed down. He kind of dropped down the pecking order. I think that's kind of the reason why he didn't really get a lot of national team call up, because he wasn't really in the best of form as well. But now he's potentially going to be going back to MLS, and especially going to Austin FC. I mean, this is a huge signing for Austin. I mean, you talk about them desperately needing a number nine. I mean, for a while they had to put Jarzy Zardes as a number nine in that team, and this is no disrespect to Jarzy Zardes. He's a great player, but this is a Jarzy Zardes that has started that's kind of in the wrong side of 30. That from going from him to Brandon Vasquez, that is an instant an upgrade. And I know Vasquez hasn't done well when it comes to his goal scoring. He is still a guy that can be a lethal number nine. Now, my question, obviously, for Austin is that we'll see whether or not if he will have good chemistry between him and Dreyusi. And this is the thing that will be very key, because Dreyusi, he had a really down season last year. Part of that is because he had trouble staying healthy, but he, along with a lot Austin player, had a really down year. But if Dreyusi can link up with Vasquez, similar to what we saw with Lucho Acosta linked up with Vasquez doing Vasquez time with Cincinnati, Austin could all of a sudden have a really good attack, and might be right back there in terms of. I mean, I know one player doesn't usually make a team get himself to a contending thing kind of mode, but with the quality that Brandon Vasquez has had, especially during his time with Cincinnati, if he can look like that player with Austin, this Austin team can definitely look dangerous. Though again, it'll be interesting to see how much the amount is going to be. I'm assuming it's going to be a hefty amount, because Rayados is definitely not a team that let go of players for a cheap amount of money. We know what happened when they decided to sell Rodolfo Pizarro to Inter Miami a couple of years, and demanding Inter Miami to pay like up to like $10 million. And yeah, let's just say that did not work out for Inter Miami whatsoever. Now, speaking of strikers, so the Portland Timbers is still looking for a number nine. They're looking to actually sign Kevin Kelsey. So I talk about for Cincinnati about Kevin Kelsey's future with the team. I almost forgot that there's now rumor that he might not even be with Cincinnati anymore, and that seems like the Timbers have been on hot pursuit. Although in order for that to happen, they of course have to buy him outright from Shakhtar Donetsk, because Kelsey technically is only on loan to FC Cincinnati. Cincinnati doesn't have like the permanent rights for him, but they're still looking to try to sign him. Though they do have a backup option if they do not get Kevin Kelsey. They're also looking to target Israeli international for Dora Fergman. That's how you pronounce, for a Maccabi Tel Aviv. Now, if there's one thing about Israeli player, is that we have had some good Israeli players in the league. It's kind of surprised to see, but there are some really good talent in that league as well. And a good example of that is Gadi Kinda when he came from the Israeli league, and how good he turn out to be as well. So yeah, I this is one that is this is definitely the one that's interesting. Oh, let's also not forget about Ty Baribo too, of how good he is, and he's also an Israeli forward that the Union of course got a couple of years ago. So again, there are some good player that comes out of there, and yeah, again, it seems like the Timbers desperately need a number nine. I don't blame them for needing a number nine, though. At the same time, it's kind of interesting because they already have Jonathan Capacito Rodriguez there. I think they're just looking for a backup option, or maybe Phil Neville's going to play two strike up front next season. But yeah, they're definitely in the market of trying to get another number nine. And then LAFC is in the market of looking for midfielder. In fact, both LA teams are looking to get more midfield help, as LAFC is looking to finalize a loan of midfielder Olden Thiago Holm from Celtic. So this is a guy that I haven't heard a lot about. From what I heard from Celtic fan, he's kind of almost a fringe player. So I don't know how many minutes he's, of course, going to get for this LAFC team. By the way, I don't know exactly. Did LAFC actually get Lewis O'Brien on a permanent deal? I think he is still on loan with Nottingham Forest, if I'm not mistaken. And I guess they just decided not to renew his loan or something like that. And maybe this is the replacement for it. But we'll see if this move does happen, and we'll see if it does happen. How much impact it will be to that LAFC team, or you could say maybe this is a replacement to Ilie that they lost the free agency this season. And then, of course, the Galaxy, they're looking to sign Igor Jesus from Portuguese side Estera Amadora. So he's another guy that is a midfielder, more of an attacking midfielder kind of piece. And again, the Galaxy continue to add more fuel to the already burning fire with them signing more attacking midfield player. Like, their attack is already lethal. Let's add more pieces, and especially for the price that they're getting him. I think it was something like around the $4 million range. This is a guy that I don't think that they just bought him for bench warming duty. I think he could get himself in the start 11. But yeah, it's gonna start to get a little bit crowded. Though I will say that knowing that the fact that Ricky Puig is not going to be available for most part of next season. Remember, he torn his ACL in that in the Western Conference final game. That is, maybe this is kind of the short term solution of replacing Ricky Puig in terms of that spot. And then lastly, final news that is not related to transfer rumors and signing is that Ted Uncle has officially announced that he has retired. He's going to be retired as a referee in MLS and as a pro referee. Now, obviously, I know there's been a lot of hate on Ted Uncle. I am definitely aware of, and I will admit there were times where when Ted Uncle referee game, especially refereeing Minnesota or Quakes game, there's been time that I have been very frustrated in terms of some of the questionable call that he's made. However, I don't think that from what many people have said that he's considered to be the worst referee. I don't think that is the case. I mean, when it comes to pro referee, you already know my stand in terms of it, and you already know everybody's stand. Not a lot of people like them, and especially of how bad the job has they have done. It's get like it feels like every single week, all the fans will always have feel like the referee has like kind of an agenda against them in terms of making bad calls or so forth. And again, Ted Uncle is probably the one that's been meme a lot and has got a lot of hate in terms of it. But I generally don't think he's considered to be the worst one. And I think at times that hate gets a little bit too overblown at time. Though, if you're a Seattle Sounders fan, I'm pretty sure I've heard a lot of Sounders fans have mentioned that he is probably the most hated referee in their fan base, and they're very happy that he is gone now. But again, I don't think he's considered the worst referee. I've seen worse one out there. But that being said, is he the best referee in MLS? Absolutely not even close in terms of being the best referee out there. He's kind of almost like in the I would say kind of almost the bottom tier of it, but definitely not at the very bottom tier in terms of the worst referee we have seen in MLS. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of this News of the Week episode. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of these news. And if there's any news I didn't mention here on the board, let me know in the comments below as always. And as I said, there's going to be a lot more news that is going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. I'm back to doing 2 News of the Week episode per week because of the anticipation that there's going to be a lot of transfers and rumors that's going to be happening, and even news that's not related to that as we get ready to start the preseason. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.